Well, many hotels, bars, and restaurants have struggled to find workers, so many raised wages, yet labor shortages have persisted. So does no one want to work in the hospitality industry right now? Here's Sibile Marcellus with the latest installment of Career Control.
Joblist is out with a new report that shows that hospitality jobs are unpopular right now, and that even raising wages doesn't seem to be reeling people in with the pandemic. Check this out. Even celebrity chef Wolfgang Puck has been complaining about this. At his restaurant Spago in Beverly Hills, waiters can make $120,000 a year, yet he's still struggling to staff up. Another celebrity chef and restaurateur, David Burke, recently told Yahoo Finance that he had to raise payroll by 25 to 30% just so he could retain and attract cooks and waiters. I want to bring in Nick Bunker, Economic Research Director for North America at the Indeed Hiring Lab, to break this all down. Now, Nick, we're hearing from some employers that they're struggling to find workers. Now, according to JobList, 60% of job seekers overall are not interested in jobs in hospitality, but the unemployment rate is still pretty high. So why aren't more job seekers feeling this sense of urgency?
Well, I think for the first of all, there's the fact that there's lots of people who are job seekers who just aren't going to be interested in the hospitality sector. For example, if I were looking for a job, that's just not my career, so I wouldn't be looking there. I think the overall sort of sense of the labor market right now is that while there are people out there who will take jobs, there's not a sense of urgency for many job seekers because of COVID and the fact that lots of people have financial cushions built up during the pandemic. So while employers might want to staff up urgently right now, lots of job seekers don't feel that same sense.
Now let's talk about people who previously worked at hotels, bars, and restaurants. Now this finding really stood out to me. Over 50% of former hospitality workers say they would not return to their old job, even though they're seeking new work, and even if there's increased pay or more incentives. From your perspective, Nick, how significant is that?
I think prior to the pandemic, this sector of the labor market was relatively high turnover. So it does make sense that in this period of more opportunities that folks who had previously worked in this industry would be willing to switch jobs. I think the issue here is how much of the experience of the pandemic potentially changes the appetite for those workers to stay in the industry.
And where should employers be looking for potential employees for the hospitality industry?
Well, I think the fact that we just mentioned the high quits rate or the sort of high level of churn in that industry, I think this just suggests that if you're looking to staff up, you might have to turn and look at the people who are already employees in the sector. That's a group that is working right now and seems more likely to be lured by higher wages.
And given the increase in wages as we've been talking about, is now the best time ever to work at a bar, restaurant, or a hotel?
I think in terms of negotiating for a raise, I think right now is a really opportune time. The demand is really strong across the whole labor market, and particularly in leisure and hospitality, an area that's trying to reopen. I think the question is, are we going to see this level of demand in the next few months? And then also, are other job seekers maybe going to come online? So the opportunity is there right now. Folks might want to seize it when they can.
And unlike in many industries, working in hospitality requires you to be on site or in the office. So how long do you think it's going to take this industry to recover?
Well, I think the major factor here, as it has been for the last 15, 16 months for this industry and the economy overall, is the path of the pandemic. Hopefully, with the level of vaccination we have now and continuing progress there, case counts will go down. More people will feel comfortable going to restaurants, especially in-person dining, and more people will feel comfortable going to in-person jobs like those in this sector. So I really do think that the immediate term outlook for this industry is very dependent on what happens with the pandemic in the months ahead.
Absolutely. Many people hoping that we move past this pandemic. Nick Bunker, great to have you on. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks so much, Sibile Marcellus, for bringing us that conversation as a part of the latest installment of Career Control.